Hello viewers, we're back again with this Chung Yuan or whatever it is. Chung Yuan Electric 9-inch personal box fan model MBF-918. And I got some new, I got them and I lost them. Here we go. I got some new thermal fuses. So we're going to go ahead and replace that today. In the last video I jumpered the thermal fuse so that it would run regardless of the fuse's status. And so what we're going to do this time is we're going to remove this thermal fuse and replace it with a new one. So there's two connections that we want to desolder. I'm going to do this one and this one. And then that should release the fuse. Now the fuse, okay, the fuse is not stuck to that plastic piece, so that should be fine. Now we could, you could just cut it out, but with these windings, the wire has a varnish over it, and so if you were to cut this part off, you'd have to remove the varnish from there back. If I just desolder it from here, then I don't have to worry about dealing with getting the varnish off. So let's see if the iron is hot enough yet. Not quite. Turn it up a little bit and wait a little longer. Alright, let's try again. Okay, now it's warm enough. That's connection number 1, and then I'm going to, what I did on the other one was I kind of just undid the twisting the best I could, just to make it a little bit easier to remove. It's really wrapped around here pretty good. At this point, I think we're just going to cut it off because they wrapped it around there way too many times. So we'll just do that. And then I'm going to save these little things on here, and we're going to reuse those. Unfortunately, these are not reusable. They're single time things. So I think that wasn't in the frame anyways. What I took off of it was these little insulation things. Alright, so let's get a new fuse out. And where was the other one? I think the leads on this are going to be a little bit too long. Here it is. Yeah, they're a little bit too long. So I'm going to cut it back to be about the same as the other one was. It's about there. And we're going to strip back this black wire a little bit more. And it's not quite as far back as I'd like it to be. A little bit more. Okay, that should suffice. And now, these are all coming off, but I'm not concerned about that. That's fine. Fix that after we're done here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our thermal fuse And this thermal fuse has to get connected to one side to here and one side to there. So as they had it before, I'm going to slide these things on there. This way that has no chance of shorting out against anything. And then when it's all assembled, this is going to sit like this. And so, actually, let's see, what is the easiest way to do this? The way they had it may not necessarily be the best way. Yeah, if that's how it goes, maybe something like that is what we'll do. Alright. Actually, I want to cut this back a little bit more. Actually, let's see. No, that's long enough to cover it. Okay. So now what we're going to do, we'll make one of these connections here. So we'll wrap this together a little bit. Fill the rest in with the solder. You do have to be very careful not to spend too much time with the iron near the thing, otherwise you'll blow the thermal fuse from the heat of the soldering iron. And don't ask how I know that. Okay, so that's good. That's done. This can slide back on there. And then this one's a little bit more tricky, because this wire, I want to make sure the fuse stays as far away from the thing as possible while we're hooking it up. Wrap this around here just a few times. Okay, that's looking pretty good. So that should be it. Now I'm just going to loosely put all these things back on so we can get a test run out of it. Okay, hopefully that's on. And let's see if anything interesting happens. Hopefully the motor just runs and that's fine. Cycle through all the speeds. And that should be off. Okay, so that's working now. Turn that iron off. Actually, I'm going to clean that before I turn that off. Now I need to finagle these things back into here. This piece was on the switch itself. I'm not really sure, or the fuse itself rather, excuse me. I'm not really sure what purpose that serves. But I'll put it back on. If it fits, it may not fit. This fuse is marginally larger than the other one was. It's going to fit, it's just going to take a little bit of time to get it jammed down there. Okay, there we go. Alright, and then after that, it's just going to kind of sit under here like this. Alright, and that's that. I don't think I'm going to bother with that crazy tape, putting that back on, because this is going to stay in there just fine. And the fuse is actually physically up against the winding, so I don't think it'll be an issue. What I am going to do, however, is put a little bit of glue on here down at the bottom just to keep this in place, because I don't want this moving and I don't want any of this stuff flexing, because these winding connections, you're walking on thin ice with these things. So I'm going to just put a little bit of glue down here at the bottom, and let's see, is this warmed up yet? Yes it is. Okay, just to kind of hold all these wires in place. And then I'm also going to put a little bit of glue there to hold these insulation things in place and make sure those don't come off. This is not the most sightly way to do this, but it's not visible from the front of the fan, or really from the back either, so I'm not concerned about it. Rather than watch glue dry, I'll cut this part out of the video. Alright, so that is working. And the new fuse is down in there. That's right up against the winding where it needs to be. All these wires are held in place with the glue. That's not going to move at all. And now we're ready to clean it and then put it into use.